Hey there, I'm Tomas Michaud from Real Guitar Success. When I was growing up, I, like most people, thought that you either had rhythm or you didn't. Unfortunately, I was on the more didn't side. Well, I've learned different. Over the years, I've come to realize that good rhythm really can be learned. I've played with some great musicians who have awesome timing and rhythm, and they pretty much all tell me in some form or fashion that that wasn't how it was when they were growing up. Now, yes, some people have more natural ability than others, but that difference is much smaller than I and most people think. Really, a lot of it has to do with practice, timing, whether it's conscious or not. A lot of those people I've played with were just brought up where they were naturally, tapping to the rhythm or listening to rhythm and having to distinguish things that had to do with rhythm. So with that said, I'm going to give you my 5-step system that will help you develop outstanding rhythm, not just average. If you do this, you'll have outstanding rhythm, especially when you're strumming the guitar. For this, we're going to use a metronome. And I'm going to use this electronic metronome. Any metronome will work. I'm going to set it at a fairly slow speed, 58 beats per minute. It's actually a little harder, slower, because there's more space in between the beats, and that's where you get off. But that's how you work it, so as you get faster, you're more accurate. Now, first off, before we even go to the metronome, the first step is to have you starting right now, today, listening to music, and every time you do, I want you to find the beat and clap with it, at least for some period of time. Try to do this several times a day, and any time that you happen to listen to music, even for fun. This simple paying attention will help improve your rhythm without really having to work hard at it. You'll find it's easier with songs that have a very distinct boom, 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 and maybe a little harder where the rhythm is a little more complex. But that's part of the fun of it. Don't get discouraged. Just keep looking for the beat and try to tap along. Your foot, your hand, whatever works for you. You can even just bob your head. Don't do this. People will think you don't like the music. Like that. I was told that when I was growing up. Now the second step will involve the metronome. We're going to clap with the beat of the metronome. This is the basic starting exercise. You want to find the beat. So I'll turn it on, and we're just going to clap on the downbeat. Try to get it to where your clap almost drowns out the beat. Now, if I'm off, you can hear both very clearly. When I'm on, you can almost only hear my clap. So the second part of this exercise is to add the upbeat. What I'm doing is, this is a downbeat. Now upbeat is 1 and 2 and 3. See, there's no tick on the upbeat. So that alone is a great exercise, and I would encourage you to do it a little bit every day. Of course, there's more complex rhythms, but start with the basics and get a solid feel for where that metronome is. Once you get a good hang of it at a slower speed, try changing the speed and see how it works. Now for the next exercise, we're going to use the guitar. It's the same idea, but we're going to use a muted strum on the guitar. I'll show you what I mean. You put your left hand over the strings and just make it so they deaden out. You're not actually making a chord. Turn on your metronome, nice slow speed, and strum down on the beat. Now you're having to incorporate things like keeping track of the pick. Make sure it doesn't fall out of your hand. So that's the first part of the exercise. The second part is to do the up strum too. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. At this point, I would start also adding some vocalizations. Do the counting system. This is not something you do all the time, or it's not mandatory, but it will help you later on. I'll show you what I mean. Counting. 1 and 2 and 3 and up is and down is the number. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, we're ready for this third step. The third step, we're going to do 4 strums per beat. We need another way to count that, so I'm going to add an E to it. Sound like this. 1 E and The E and the are that added beat. So here's what that sounds like. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a... For this next step, number 4, we're going to up the ante a little bit. Now we're going to move the left hand to keep track. This is getting closer to what you have to do when you're changing chords. And we're going to do a varying strumming pattern as you move your hand. It's going to look like this. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and 4 and... So you'll notice I'm moving my hand all the way close to the headstock and then all the way up here closer to the sound hole. I start off with that 1E and a 2E and a pattern. 1E and a 2E and a, and then I just do the 1 and, or the eighth note. These are eighth notes and these would be 16 notes. And 2 and 1E and a 2E. Let's hear what it sounds like with the metronome. Here we go. 1E and a 2E and 3 and 4 and 1E and a 2E and 3 and 4 and 1E and a 3 and 4 and 1E and a 2E and 3 and 4 and. Okay, this can be challenging. Start slow. As a matter of fact, if you're really having a hard time with the 1E and the 2E and first of all, go to the previous step and practice that much. But then you can start 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then integrate that 1E and the 2E and. And now for step number 5, which I'll say is somewhat optional because if you do up through steps number 4 and you practice it regularly, your rhythm's going to get better and better. But I'm going to have you apply it in step number 5 to a chord. We'll start with a D chord and we're going to move to an A7. Any 2 chords will work. I just picked 2 easy chords. We're going to go 1E and the 2E. So you'll notice what I'm doing is instead of just moving my hand, I'm going to a different chord. So we're doing 1E and a 2E and a 3 and 4 and now I'm on the D chord, 1E and a 2E and I go to the A7 for the next part. Let's try it with a metronome. Here we go. 1E and a 2E and a 3 and 4 and 1E and a 2E and a 3 and 4. Now, just a couple of tips. As you do these exercises, go in order and work at one for a while before you move on to the next. I've seen people try to get to the exercise number 5 right away and they get frustrated because it doesn't work. Well, they didn't do the steps leading up to that. Also, practice sometimes without a metronome. You don't want to get so attached to the metronome that you can't play in rhythm if you don't hear that click, click. So vary it up a bit, but use the metronome both to test your rhythm and how well you're doing, as well as to measure your speed. You can pick up the tempo of the metronome little by little and see how you're improving with speed. Again, I encourage you to use that vocalization 1 and 2 and. That'll help you when you start working out rhythm patterns, but don't do it all the time also. Sometimes just feel the rhythm. Try to get it inside your body. Also, use your body. Try moving a little bit with the beat or tapping your foot. And finally, try to relax into it. You're trying to get the rhythm into your body and not just in your head, not calculating it. It takes time, patience, and practice, but it pays off tremendously. There'll be a time where you'll be strumming a rhythm and it'll be right on you, not even having to think about it. Thanks for joining me today. It's been a pleasure being here with you. Please, wherever you're seeing this, leave me a comment, Facebook, YouTube, on my blog, and let me know how you liked it, if there's something else you'd like to see, anything. I'd love to hear from you. And if you'd like to step things up a little bit and work with me, check out my realguitarsuccess.com website. Bye for now.